Tell me about the background of your artistic career.
Sure, I'm originally from Michigan. I went to art school in Detroit, College for Creative Studies. That's kind of where I got my business studio name, Creative Studies Workshop. And I like doing a lot of different mediums and trying different things to get the idea across.
I did my bachelor's in science at SUNY New Paltz. It's a state university in New York where I'm from, and I studied art education. And so that gave you a variety of different studio practices, as well as child psychology and dealing with administrations and stuff like that. So it had a very interesting background.
I've always been an artist my entire life. My parents, for some reason, must have seen that in me as a child. I went to art classes. I remember going to pottery classes, or not pottery, it was just ceramics classes, and different art classes. My sisters didn't do that, so they must have seen, or I must have expressed an interest in art at that point. When it came time to go to college, I did not pursue art because I think I just didn't even think that that was an option for me.
I did try art education for a couple of positions, and it just wasn't for me. I really love making art, and I don't like begging children to make art with me, so that is not my job. I went back to school, got my master's in painting from NYU, and while I was in New York studying and finishing that, I decided to join the AmeriCorps after grad school, and that's how I came to Asheville.
I studied horticulture instead, which is kind of artsy. It's, you know, it's the art of plants, and I was in the landscaping horticulture business for 40 years. But all throughout that, I was always taking classes. I was always making art for my own use, or in my home, or for selling at little art sales and things.
In the heart of Asheville, North Carolina is the River Arts District, a bustling art scene for more than 200 emerging and established artists ready for exposure to their talents. There are so many artists in the area, which makes it overwhelming to know where to start exploring or who to discover. How has your art evolved over time?
So in the beginning, it was much looser.
I've done like murals in kids' bedrooms before, where I've been doing somebody else's artwork or their ideas, and there's a comfort to that as well, because you don't have to take that very personally at all. But then now just doing like your own artwork is newer for me, just to only do that, which I'm really enjoying.
I think it's more sophisticated, and I really am focused. I really love the process of the art. So a lot of it I'm driven by the process, either having a vision of I want to produce this, what steps do I have to take to get there? So I think it's just a little bit more sophisticated, where I think out the process of the art now.
The New York School of Thought is very conceptual based and very large. So basically, not for sale was the general idea with all of my graduate school work. And so one of the opportunities that when I first moved here, one of my friends was the night manager at Early Girl. They were really cool and very interested in helping support community and artists. And so he offered me a show there, and the idea was that you needed to make original works that were under $100, and that was the challenge, which was really like, it was like a completely new challenge. So I just took it on as that and figured it out, and that was one of the successful shows that showed me that it was a viable career, that I could actually have a sustainable lifestyle.
How did you end up at your studio space in the River Arts District?
Oh, no, I ended up at Wedge because I met Tessa, who does the artwork and leggings. I met her at Ingalls, and we just started chatting. and that kind of like lended it, started from there. Yeah, it was an Ingalls love story of friendship.
So once I came here, it's like the first month, I visited many buildings and studios to see where I felt I would have a good fit. So I went into some studios. I thought, no, my work wouldn't work in here, or I don't like the layout, or the feeling isn't just right. And so I kind of interviewed the different buildings, and then I left my card and information in the buildings that I was interested in. And luckily, a studio came available, and I went and talked to them, and we felt like it was a good fit.
So, interesting story. So I started out with a really small wall at the Woolworth Gallery, which is downtown, and you just rent space. You are juried in to get a space, and then you pay rent every month on a space that's pretty small. And my challenge was to kind of make the rent and then see if that was a viable location. So one of the opportunities that presented itself while I was at the Woolworth Walk was a free booth share at Bell Share, which was this festival they had in Asheville a long time ago where they closed down the entirety of downtown, and then it was all artist booths, like 10 by 10 tents with like art stuff in it. Anyway, the person that I shared the tent with had a space, and she said that she was looking for a new space and was looking for a roommate, and would I be interested? And I said, definitely yes. I was working in a shed, or basically a one-car garage in my yard at the time, and and so she invited me, and so we found the space and we set it up together, and she stayed. That was in 2009. So she stayed for quite a bit. We shared it for a really long time, and then eventually she moved. So I got the space.
Landscape, I would say for me, just like is life, like nature. That's what just gets me excited, whether it's more of a traditional landscape, or if you're looking at the algae or the molds or the different shapes that water makes going down a rock fall. So I'll enjoy just kind of being inspired by my surroundings here. There are endless surroundings in Asheville. So go for a hike and start there.
I do photography of trees, and those tree photos can become encaustic paintings. I do paint flowers. I work with the indigo dyeing and rust dyeing, which are natural processes. It all kind of fits together.
Neo-Appalachia is a term which I really am very fond of, because as a person who studied art, you know, like they have all of these different names for things. Can you talk a little bit about your artistic style? I think there's also a style that is mostly out of California called neo-surrealism, or pop surrealism. I do think that if there was a style that it fit into, it would be that.
Yeah, there's an artist, Nathan Oliveira, that I really like, and he did do some monotypes that I enjoyed.
My favorite painter is Giovanni Bellini, who was a master painter in the Venetian school during the Renaissance.
There's an encaustic artist named Sue Stover, and I'm inspired by her, because she works with some of the same materials I do.
I often encourage young people that if they have a job for money that they don't hate and doesn't destroy them, that they should keep that as long as they need to until they figure out how to make money at their art.
I think just, don't be afraid to jump in, and if all you can manage is getting a wall somewhere where you maybe can't afford a whole studio, or don't want to make that commitment, and you can get a wall in the studio and just have your art in the studio, in the art district, and wander around, see what people are doing, see how they're doing it, and how it works.
To make sure that you're being competitive, but not completely underselling yourself as well.
Putting that kind of pressure on a new artist, or somebody that's like sort of figuring out their style.
What is your advice for aspiring full-time artists?
It's just like really painful. So I would not encourage that at all. I would encourage someone to take it slow, to just like take on what they can slowly over time, and then build it up.
It's great being an artist here in the River Arts District. in Asheville. It's unique, I think, because there's not, I can't think of anywhere else where there is an art district that's this deep, that there's so many artists, and we're open any day of the week, and people can, it's not just a certain day or a certain Saturday or week. It's like every day. I'm here 5 days a week and welcoming people from all over the world into Asheville and talking about art, and that's pretty inspiring.